Hi, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is Heather Dobson coming to you live from GoDaddy HQ in Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm so excited to bring this hangout to you today. And I just want to give you a little heads up that we are going to start doing a lot more live broadcasting. Even though Hangouts is officially going away, we are completely revamping the studio space so that we can bring you weekly live broadcasts to cover all kinds of topics that you're interested in. Today is something that I think is really cool. So we have Luke Webster, the CEO and the founder of the Grooming Network, to talk about how buying domains and using various domains can really be an effective part of your business strategy. And to conduct this interview, we have Joe Styler, who is from GoDaddy. He is the aftermarket product manager here at GoDaddy. I got it right, you guys. I'm so happy about that. And so they're going to conduct the interview and have the discussion, and I'll chime in from time to time. But my important role here is I'm watching the event, and if you have any questions or any comments, keep them nice, people. You can put them here in the event page, and I'll shout them out to Joe and Luke. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Joe.
Thanks a lot. I'm real excited. We do a lot of Hangouts, but today's a really special one because we get to talk to somebody who's done a lot online and been really successful and is also willing to share that with people, which I think is pretty rare. Most people that are very successful are obviously very busy, so we appreciate him taking his time out to come and talk with us today. But more importantly, the caliber of the guest today is just top notch. You know, he's started several businesses, been very successful online, and been able to do things from starting with domains and making money on them all the way through full-scale e-commerce business, which is international. And I think it's really exciting to have him on as a guest and kind of talk about where he came from, what place domains have in his business, and how he's been able to grow the business that he has today, which is the Grooming Network. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Luke and let Luke say a little bit about who he is and where he got started in the online space and where he's at now.
Hi everyone, Luke Webster. Thank you, Joe. It's very nice, and Heather, it's a pleasure being here, and yeah, happy to take the time and kind of just let you know what I've been up to and how I started. I actually started in the domain world probably in I knew that domains were valuable, and in 96, 97, I think it was probably 97, I registered my first domain, and that was an online business. And then from there, and just always collected domains, and it just ended up just out of necessity or just out of the domain tools. I was always at GoDaddy, and probably around 08, I had tons of domains, and I'd acquired a lot of domains over the years, several thousand, and which is not as, it was just a lot for me. And I was heavy in real estate at that time, and I was interested in making money on domains. I'd learned about parking, and I started working with GoDaddy and their account execs, and really learned more about developing out my domains, picking them up on the aftermarket, looking at appraising names, how much they're worth, and then understanding traffic, and then understanding category names. So I built a company called DevRich, and it was all built 100% on GoDaddy technology, GoDaddy hosting. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a really good project, and we built out thousands and thousands of domains, and tens of thousands of sites on GoDaddy servers, and utilized the aftermarket to catch high value domain names. And from there, I sold that to a great company called Epic, and then after that, I got into e-commerce, and then I've used GoDaddy SSLs, and their site. One of the big things, the easiest way to get started for me was the WordPress hosting is excellent. I love WordPress, and it was a great way to start a blog and then use some of the e-commerce tools for WordPress. And that was kind of, it's kind of a 50,000 foot view, but that's, and then from there I went on to create the Shaving Network, and I modified that into the Grooming Network. And it's been a really, a great relationship. And as a technology partner, I kind of look at GoDaddy as that for DevRich, and it was awesome because the expense, the money that I had to put out for the technology I received was very little compared to the reward of all the backups, and not having to worry about my servers or anything like that. And even to the point when I when I mess up and forget to renew something or let a site go offline, GoDaddy's been kind enough to be able to dive into archives and help me out to recover the lost data.
So just to recap, domain names are the addresses that people use to find you online. So like shave.club is one of yours. And then the back end, when he talks about developing, that's the hosting, that's the website that you see. So he's able to take these names and then use those to build value around some of the sites that he actually developed using WordPress as a platform. So
correct.
I'd like to kind of know a little bit more about the current project that you have, which is the Grooming Network. So you started out with just building out names, and now you're in a full scale, several different online stores that you have that are all part of this network. I'd like to know a little bit more about how you got started in that, and maybe some recommendations that you might have for other people that are looking to start an online business.
Sure. So for me, I got started in I really wanted to do e-commerce. I'd always wanted to do e-commerce. I'd looked at my WordPress sites I had built. A lot of them were basically, if you think of a product blog, so there would be information about a certain product. Maybe the product would be nib or dip pins or something. I like niche spots where there's not a ton of information. And if you do a good job writing quality information about it, you'll get traffic. And then, but I use my sites as like affiliate links or sending people to other e-commerce sites, but early on. And then I thought, I would really rather just carry the products myself or manufacture them and then sell them. And that started the Grooming Network. That's really what we do. So now we import very few products. Companies that we buy have large scale, and we import a lot of different stuff for those companies. But our core company, Straight Razor and straightrazors.com, we have just a handful of SKUs, like maybe 4 or 5 that we import. Everything else we make here in North Idaho or in Washington, but we make most of it here in America. And I would really encourage people to look at that. There's a lot of great things going on in American manufacturing, and I like small items that are easy to ship. I like using small flat rate boxes. Right now, I was just looking at the aftermarket this morning, and smallgunsafes.com was on the list for sale. I think that's a great business for somebody to go into. I'm in Sandpoint, Idaho, and this is kind of the home of gunsafes.com. That company has just been crushing it for a long time. And so he should probably go pick up smallgunsafes.com. But that's a good name, and that's a great business. I know that those are high value items and good sales tickets. So I like that name. Just kind of looking through the aftermarket. But there's so many opportunities out there to create small businesses. I have a friend who treehut.co. They sell like wooden watches and wooden glasses and like a lot of great niche businesses. If you can look into something that you're passionate about or something that you like, and then see, is it something that has legs, like shaving, obviously, and grooming, beard care, hair care, skin care. These are all things that people do every single day. So for me, it's a great. I looked at it as tons of opportunity, and it's a market that needs disrupted. And I think you've seen that, with Dollar Shave Club and some of the other Harrys and some of the other great, really smart guys that have done a great job disrupting the market. So I always look for opportunity for disruption. I like that. I hope that answers some of your question.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It brings up another question that I have. You mentioned the smallgunsafes.com. You found that looking on the aftermarket, which is the auction marketplace at GoDaddy. When you're on the auction site, are you looking for names that might be another business, or do you come there first with an idea for a business and then see if you can pick up a name that's around there? You mentioned the importance of traffic, having people come to the site, people that are going to buy products from you. Do you look for names that have traffic first so that you can build a business around that, or do you go there and say, hey, what might be available that I have something in my mind, I want to start selling car parts. Let me see if there's a car part site that might be there. What's your approach, and what do you recommend other people might do if they want to get an online commerce business going?
I'm really fluid, and I look at the aftermarket as a great place where people have already thought about a net domain or a business and made a purchase once already. So it's already, I look at that as kind of some place that's already been screened possibly, or it's just a unique place. So I like to go there with nothing in mind and just start looking through names. And then if I see something that just calls to me that I'm excited about, or I'm like, that's a good idea, I find that's easier for me. I like doing that, and I pick those kind of names up because they're good to have. I mean, like, I just like the idea of once. The main thing that you have to learn, and just be really honest with anybody going into any type of e-commerce, is you have to master pay-per-click advertising. So you need to really master. I would not recommend anybody to build their business based on SEO solely. I would build it based on marketing, and that marketing should really be done through Facebook right now at this point in time, Facebook and Google AdWords. And you master those two things, and you'll do really well, and no matter what vertical you're going to go into. And if you Google the term of whatever it is you're looking for, if it's wireless keyboards, or vintage tobacco pipes or something like that, and if people are advertising on it, then there's a really good chance that there's money in there. But you have to be able to buy media cheaper than they do, and buy eyeballs and impressions and clicks cheaper than everybody else. So really, being an entrepreneur in the year 2016 and being an e-commerce guy, it's really about your marketing. And and I would say marketing first, then your domain name, and then after that you can invest in more expensive domain names. But the great thing about all these new GTLDs in the aftermarket is you can pick up great names for very cheap. I mean, you can get a really solid name for little money out of pocket. And I think that's important when you start a new business, is to have as little exposure as you can in terms of cash flow out.
That makes sense. I'd like to know a little bit more about specifically some names that you've picked up in the aftermarket to help with your shaving business, and how they've played a role in increasing your business.
Sure. I have a pile of names. I don't have them in front of me, but I'm not ever familiar which ones came from where, so I don't want to say the wrong things. But I know that I'm pretty sure that I've got some really solid .club names from you guys. I know I have, and .com names. But I don't know which ones come from which market. So I don't want to say the wrong things, Joe. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
It doesn't matter.
We just want to know how names work. It doesn't need to be necessarily a marketplace, but if somebody's looking to expand a business or get one off the ground from scratch, what place did the names play?
Sure.
You said it's kind of secondary to PPC, advertising, but what about branding and marketing? The
Sure.
role for that, and also some of the traffic.
I think the easiest thing to start out with is, this is easy for anybody, is keyword-rich domain. I wouldn't look for a name that you have to brand and market so heavy, because my first name was Vintage Straight Razor. Like 5 or 6 years ago, maybe might have been 5 years ago, 6 years ago, that was a term that people searched for a lot, Vintage Straight Razor. If I would have started off with something like, I have no idea, but let's think of a generic, like how Google did, or Twitter, or something like that, something generic. I'd have to educate the person on what this site was about. But with the name like Vintage Straight Razor, they knew what it was about immediately. It was synonymous with shaving and straight razors. So I really encourage people to begin with to work off of a keyword-rich domain. So if you were going to do fountain pens, if you could get fountainpens.com, that'd be great. Or if you could get fountainpens.club, I think that's a great alternative, right? If the .com is going to be expensive, .club is a great way to go. And that's a good example, because then you could sell them, the ink on a monthly or a quarterly basis, and it has a consumable aspect to it. So I really like keyword-rich domain names. I still do. It's tougher. I mean, if you're a well-funded startup, you could go and try to, utilize like Pied Piper or something unique, that doesn't mean anything about what you're doing, but it could be, like something you could brand and get create awareness through massive scale campaigns. But as the small guy, like startup, that I think that's what GoDaddy's awesome for, because it empowers the small guy to have all the tools at his fingertips for doing, right from your domain manager. I can set up emails, I can set up hosting, I can set up e-commerce, I can get an SSL certificate, and I can go into business in like one day. I mean, when could you do that? 10 years ago, it wasn't that easy. 15 years ago, this took tons of money and investment. So the playing field is really leveled for anybody that has a lot of ambition and that can be creative. The opportunities are huge and they're everywhere, right? But it's just a matter of sourcing the product and then marketing it. But as far as the tech side, anybody can do it now. I mean, the tutorials are awesome. I mean, anybody can really do the tech side. It's not, the mystery's solved. It's done. I mean, it's easy to from your domain or manager just to launch a site and within a few days have it looking really great and accept people's credit cards and send them in a great product.
Yeah, things have changed definitely a lot, especially I'd say even over the last 5 years. There's been just a lot of competition, and that's driven everybody up to make things even better. So I think that's a great point. If you really have ambition, if you want to put the time into it, you can make a business happen online.
Yeah, it's rather easy today. I mean, it's really scary easy. I mean, there's a lot of sharp people out there. I have competition coming all the time in our industry. There's been a lot of focus on shaving and on grooming, on beard care. I mean, those are big. When I first started doing this, so I had no competitors advertising. Now, I mean, my competitors are like Harry and P&G, the Art of Shaving. Some really big competitors, Dorco. And I run pay-per-click campaigns against all those guys, and we do rather well. And those are tough guys to compete with. Especially, they've done a really good job getting their campaigns in line. I mean, they used to buy bad media, and they buy smart media now. They're dialed in. So, it's it's just a matter of like just having that ambition, though. But the nice part is what you guys do to technology, Google's done to commerce when it comes to buying media. It's easy to compete with a big company like P&G.
Yeah, and I just want to jump in and say that what I really love to hear you say is talking about the marketing aspect of it. So not just the Google Ad Network or Google AdWords, but also Facebook advertising and Facebook marketing, which is an absolutely critical component of any business right now. But for something like this that is such a niche market, I think that there's so much power behind Facebook marketing for something like this. And I want to say that Jeffrey Sass has done a little bit of research and said for everybody who's watching that fountainpens.club is available on GoDaddy for $2.99 on sale. Nice. So if you're thinking about getting it, go snap it up. But Luke, I want to commend you for talking about the marketing aspect of it, because I think that that's a component that some people overlook or they forget about until a later date.
Right.
Yeah.
I honestly believe that that's more important than the product. I think that's going to be the lifeblood of anything that you do. Yeah. I mean, bad products succeed all the time because of great marketing, and great products never even get to the shelf because of no money for marketing. So when we test a product, often we'll do the marketing before we finalize the product or even create it. Photoshop, you can do some amazing things, right? And if it doesn't sell well, we'll produce it and send it to them or refund. And if it sells great, then we just go to work and we fill orders. But it's easier to do that in my world. Some products, that you have to, a car, you have to design it and make it, but a blade's pretty easy to test a new style and see if people are receptive.
Yeah, I think it's phenomenal, and it is true what you say that bad products succeed on great marketing. And do you have any insight about how you're using? You talked a little bit about Google AdWords. Do you have any insight about how you're using Facebook marketing?
Yeah, I love Facebook marketing for very subtle brand recognition and brand, so we have a brand, one of our main brands is the Blades Grim, and it's just a really great way to introduce people to you. I like Facebook in terms of building a following, not selling products. Now I'm okay with selling products on there, and we do that. We do get people that, but I would rather have it. I look at Facebook as like building a relationship with the person and then have them buy from me after they get to follow my brand or see like, hey, these guys just sent this over to these people in need, or these people just did this, or they just produced a video that looked great and talked about how they make stuff from hand and are big on American manufacturing. Then people will patronize our store. I try not to hit them too much with ads on Facebook because I think it's a unique marketplace, and ads work great there. I mean, they really do. But I just would. I think that with Facebook, I want to build a lifetime friend, that keeps coming back to my page, and I think the best way to do that is through like more brand recognition, and Facebook's great for that, and LinkedIn is great for business to business. So when I want to talk to somebody at the gentleman that might be a procurer for new products for the art of shaving, I use LinkedIn, or I would use a method like that. And LinkedIn is a great B2B, and Facebook is your B2C, and Facebook is so affordable, such an easy way to advertise. It's most of by now probably most people that have e-commerce store are very active on Facebook. But for anybody getting in to e-commerce, it's hard to beat the cost per acquisition of in Facebook. The downside of Facebook advertising is it's labor intensive, and it requires a lot of updates and a lot of management, and somebody that's constantly looking, reviewing and watching like you're doing right now, Heather, watching for questions and being real time, and getting, real time is so important, and being fast on the reply and helpful. And, so like that, those are the pros and cons of Facebook.
Yeah, there are definitely lots of tools out there to help with that too, but it can be really daunting in the very beginning if you're new to it. But just know, to everybody out there watching, know that it's completely doable, and there are lots of great resources out there to help you.
Yeah, if and that's the thing, it's not that hard. I like to work, so I enjoy it, but the reality is it's really not super hard. And I've seen people just do so well just through their social media and marketing campaigns. Yeah, it's just, I love watching them. Just like I said at treehut.co, they've just done so good. These are friends, and they started creating these wood watches. They're doing excellent. And I mean, I probably had a 30-minute conversation with them about PPC and Facebook advertising. It's done so well and I like hearing that. Another one is a buddy's Black Rifle Coffee Company. He did this. Facebook is so powerful right now for brand awareness. And I think that it's really tough to build your brand on Google right now, but you can easily build a story and get people to understand who you are and love what your products and, what you stand for, and target those people with the similar worldview or the similar, maybe ideology that you might have through Facebook. It's really easy.
Yeah, I love the shout out for Black Rifle Coffee. I'm not a coffee drinker, but I love that company.
Yeah, they're great. Evan's a good guy, and so are the rest of the veterans there at that company.
There's some good videos on Facebook that I've seen. I think the other thing that's important for people that are starting out to know is that a lot of these companies will help you. I mean, they want you to be successful, because if you're successful, you're going to spend more money on advertising. So they usually give you, AdWords or Facebook credit for free, start out with, and then they'll consult with you to see how your campaigns are going if you want to spend time with them. So they have people that are available to help small businesses succeed, which I think is pretty cool too.
And speaking of the level playing field, I mean, in 1970, you didn't have Google that would tell you everything you needed to do to compete with any other person in your, really vertical. And now we have it. So, I mean, like, you can go to Google and figure out, how to set up a proper campaign across multiple networks, whether it's using something like Hootsuite or anything like that. And then, like you said, once you engage, Facebook's very receptive, and so is Google at having, helping you set up your first campaigns and getting you to be successful in your vertical. It's and then GoDaddy has the same type of people like yourself that help me. Whenever I have questions, it's really easy to do business nowadays online. It's I'm nervous, I'm always wondering who the next young buck is that's going to come up and, give me a run for my money, or, make life tougher for me. But, that keeps us, like you said, the rising water raises all ships. As long as you don't got holes, you're going to rise. And the tools that you guys are building are great, right? And the tools that your competitors are building are great too, because we all win, the consumer wins. And I look at the same thing in my vertical. When somebody comes in and they have better customer service than me, I have to step up my game. When they do something that's, they offer more services, I got to look at it and give a better offering. And through that, the nice part is costs should go down, and products get better, and competition is a good thing.
Well, I think one thing that can help you stand out with the competition is having a great name, and you definitely have a few really good names. StraightRazor.com is a really great name that you acquired, And I think that helps you stand out when you're talking, about somebody that's new, that's just starting out, that wants to compete. And you see an ad on Google for somebody that's, frankstraightrazorcompany.com versus straightrazors.com. Then there's a little bit more trust, I think, when you have a good name. And I'd like to know if we talk a little bit about that. What's been a key domain acquisition for you that's really helped your business, and how did that acquisition go? Was it challenging, and what were the steps involved for somebody who might want to get a good name?
Sure. So one of my first big acquisitions was the name Straight Razors with an S.com. I think I paid maybe around $8,000 for it, and at that time that was a lot of money to put out. I had self-funded up to that time off of a domain, Vintage Straight Razor, which I believe I registered at GoDaddy, hand register after a drop, VintageStraightRazor.com. And I was a little nervous about it. It was a lot of money to put out. This is about 5 years ago, just on another name. And it worked out really well. It paid for itself within a month. And from there, I bought Straight Razor. That's the kind of the pinnacle for Straight Razor search terms is just the singular, straightrazor.com. And I bought that from Frank Schilling, and Vern helped me negotiate. They were really kind and gave me a good deal, and that worked out really well. And that again, it probably paid for itself, I think, in a month or 2 months. And that was quite a bit more expensive. From there, I was so excited when I saw .club launching. I actually flew down and met with Jeff and Colin, and I explained to them why I needed shave.club and shaving.club, and I was so stoked about just .club, and also I met with my brain is coffee.club. What's the gentleman's name?
Bill McClure.
Bill, yeah, I don't know why I split. I'm getting old. So yeah, I met with Bill and I told him, you got to get coffee.club. I was so heavy on .club at that time. I was amped. I remember at the thing, and I just really knew that .club was going to be the winner, because they just have this great marketing team, right? And they're putting money behind it, and they're one brand. They're not championing 1,000. So for me, I wanted to hitch up to them, and I did. And I still think shave.club and beard.club are going to be my best assets in the near future. They're not final, and I built shaving.club out, and shave.club redirects to it, but the club model is tough. Bill's done a great job. Bill McClure's done a great job with coffee.club of getting that dialed in. And I think if anybody out there watching wants a great deal on the opportunity is very big with a company like Cratejoy, and then buying a name at GoDaddy, like a good .club name for something that you're interested or excited in. There's a ton of opportunity, and the club model is very popular right now. And there's a lot of opportunity in any .club, whether it's I just look at it as like, why aren't these mixed martial art, studios around town, using more .clubs, or, like places where people go that have a monthly subscription, a swimming club or whatever it is. So like I'm heavy on .club. I think my shave.club, and I also bought fight.club. I'm really excited about that. I'm going to make it a soap company. So it's because we make shave soap. So I'm going to have fight.club is going to be soap. So pretty big fan of the movies and books. So yeah, so I'm excited like for fight.club. And anyways, like I really love the idea of building on .club. I've tried I've got shaving.club up right now, and it's decent, but it's not the home run. And I know that shave and beard.club will be home runs, and beard is coming along nicely, and we're excited about those names. I also recently we bought beard.com, and it's a big purchase as a 6-figure domain name, and I really feel it's a 7-figure value. We're excited about building that out too. We have we just bought 2 new companies, bought a straight razor manufacturer out of Michigan, Heart Steel, which we're really excited about. And, we'll be building that out, on GoDaddy here shortly. We're going to redo the website, give it a nice facelift. And yeah, we're excited about, just keep growing the brand, and, get people. My goal is to change the way the world shaves. To get people to start shaving with a brush and a soap, And I don't even care if they get, you know, they can keep their Mach 5 for now, and as time goes on, move to a safety razor. But that's
Well,
my call.
you got me using it, and I think the shaving that I do now, I haven't used shaving cream in a can in a long time, and I was at a hotel and I forgot my stuff and had to use it, and it just felt weird. So you definitely you get used to that, and I like that your products are all natural. I know I'm not getting chemicals on me, and that makes a big difference. So I mean, anybody watching, I definitely recommend that you check out his store and purchase stuff, because it's a great place to go, and he has really high quality stuff. I think.
Yeah, I would say, like, you know, if you just Google wet shaving, I don't even care if you buy from me. Just change the way you shave. Go to my competitors. They're all mostly great guys. I like so many of them. They're all good guys. I mean, you're not going to find a really bad guy in the bunch. And there's lots of great artisans out there making soaps all across the U.S. It's not that difficult to make, but it is difficult to, you know, like, I like to think we're the best, but that's what I strive to do. And I want them to do the same. And, you know, I'm happy, you know, there's tons of, like, Phoenix Artisan accoutrements. There's so many great soap makers and just artisans out there that do such a good job. I mean, like in Michigan on the East Coast, there's Through the Firefine Craft. There's a ton of great, you know, these little shave stores. I just say go patronize them, just like I would say for small coffee shops. You know, try to patronize the little guy as much as you can.
I love that. We're all about supporting small businesses at GoDaddy. But from a personal perspective too, no matter where I travel or where I live, I always try to find local and support the local artisans and the local shops. And we're going to have a challenge coming up, maybe next month, maybe in the month of October, where we're going to start challenging people to spend 14 days or 30 days of purchasing local and small as much as possible.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. Yeah. That'd be fun.
I like that. Yeah, and I've always loved the fact, I mean, empowering small business is really the thing that I love about GoDaddy. For me, it was, you know, I wouldn't have been able to even get to where I'm at without the tools that I had to build Beverage. It wouldn't have happened.
That's great. That's a great commentary for GoDaddy, but also for the work and commitment that you've put into it also. Do you have a bunch of domain names that just kind of hang out and you're not really using them for anything? Here's why I'm asking that question. I have a problem of buying domain names, both you know, aftermarket, because I see something that I think might be cool, but also when you're sitting around maybe having a couple beers and you think, oh my gosh, that's a great idea, and I go buy the domain name. Yep. I may not know what to do with it right then, but then it comes time for renewal, and I have this moment of, God, it's still great. I don't want to get rid of it. Do you have any advice? Do you hold on to yours? Do you get rid of some of them? What do you do?
I use this analogy a lot, but I think it's true in a lot of different areas of life. And so, like, yeah, it's like the first year, it's like a baby and you love it. And like by year 10, you hate it because it's just been there and it's like starting to become a teenager and you want to get rid of it, right? And then you get rid of it, and then like year 20, you're like, I'm starting to see year 20 on some of my domains, right? And I'm like, I wish I had that one still, right? Because, you know, 15 years ago, maybe it was easy to get, but now it's, you know, scarcity, right? You know, it's tougher to have that name now. So I don't know. I think if you liked it at the initial time, you know, it's important to go through and screen and cull the herd, especially, you know, like I've done a lot of late night buying of domain names where, you know, all these 100 are going to be great. And really there's 2 maybe good ones. So I have a tough time getting rid of domains at this point. I think I'm big on portfolio reviews, seeing what's real and what isn't. Like I think it was e-cigs were really popular, like when that was first coming out, and then it changed to like vapor, right? Vaping and all this, you know, it's a terminology changes. If you can, I think anybody that's holding e-cig stuff might want to dump a couple of them and go heavier into vapor if they're in that business. But, you know, for the most part, yeah, if you liked it when you bought it and, you know, after a year you still love it and after 5 years you still like it, I would just hold it or put it up for sale, worst case. But what I'd really tell you to do is develop it and try to have as many that you can developed. What I do for a lot of mine, like I think like strops.com and leather strops, I just forward them to pages on my websites that are relevant to what that product is. And I find that to be useful because I can just tell somebody if they're like, oh, I want a strap, but where do I find it? Just go to strops.com, and I know that they're going to find my stuff. Personally, I use i.link for my LinkedIn account. So I just tell people, I just have on my card www.i.link, and then people know they can find me. And for like, we're building like a tech business that's based on a kind of a data center. And so I bought e.help. And so like, I think like things like that, can be really useful. And like, if there's so many great new GTLDs that, you could send Luke or whatever the GTLD is .club and point them to your Facebook, right, or something, or create a group like that. So they don't have to be websites either. They can be addresses for somewhere deeper in a website, and I like using them for things like that.
Yeah, that's actually a really great suggestion. And so you're telling me I need to do some developing. That's awesome.
I would do a lot of development.
Yeah. Joe, what do you guys think about, you've talked a lot about .club. What do you think are the next domain names that may become as popular or as valuable as .club?
Well, I think before we get back into that, I want to circle back to something Luke said earlier, which is when he was trying to acquire names, one of the things he did was he met with the guys from .club. I think if you have a great idea and you want to start a business, there's a lot of opportunities. So Luke said, he spent 6 figures on a name. Not everybody has that budget, but you do have the ability to go find a name. And if you can't find one, don't be afraid to ask. Go down and talk to the people who run the registry. If you can't get in touch with them, that's what GoDaddy is here for. We'll help you get in touch with the right people. We'll help you get to the name that you want, and to be able to see if it's available. Because with a lot of these names, there are some really great names that are out there, and the companies that are behind them want to see you succeed. They want to see a real business built on it. So if you have a great idea for business and you're really going to put some time into it, be afraid to ask the people at the companies if they'll help you out with the name. And I'm sure that there's opportunities out there. So don't be afraid to contact us for it. There's too many good names that are out there to really talk about. I think the one that's been in the news lately is .blog. That's coming out soon. That's going to be pretty cool for people that want to launch a business on a blog, or talk about something like Luke said. He uses Facebook for it to be able to engage the community around your business as a separate place. .blog will be cool to see that come out. .web is going to be developed soon, so that people can start to buy that. The auction's just finished for that, so that that's going to be able to be released. .club is great. There's really just too many different ones that are great, and there's also a lot more specificity with the names that are out there now. So if you have a niche, like Luke talked about, to really identify a niche that you want to sell, there's great names that are available in those niches. So you could develop around that, and people will be a little bit happier to go to a site that kind of resonates with them, like that fish, if they're into fishing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you have anything to add to that, Luke? Any other?
No,
You mentioned .blog and .web.
I know I have a ton of I don't remember what they are right now. When I put on the spot, I just go blank. I don't remember. I know I got a lot of .gurus, and I have .wikis. I look at building. I want to build those out. I know I have Straight Razor and Straight Razor for almost all of these things, and shaving and shave. I bought shaving, shave, straight razors, soaps. I bought a bunch of them for all the new GTLDs for most of them, and then I bought a bunch of them for the local cities that I patronize or that I like Sandpoint and Coeur d'Alene and different areas. I bought Sandpoint.realty or whatever, all the information ones. And then what I did is I started pointing them Sandpoint.hotels to the local hotels in the area. And so I just forwarded it. I just do a Google search, and then that would be where I forwarded the domain. So I did that for a ton of different stuff around my local town. Just because I thought it was kind of fun to do, and I tell people, "Oh, go here," and anyway, so I like domains. I think there's more to them than just just developing. They can be great ways to quickly navigate to different things. And but if you have them, one thing, looping back to the development side, I would say look at the best ones that you have, and the ones that you're most excited about, and start developing, and make a list of 10 and start developing the first one. And then what it'll do is it'll make you appreciate how much work it is to develop one, and then do 2, 3, 4, or 5. And then once you get through like 10, then that helps you, look at like, well, do I want to buy more in this area, or should I cull the herd a little, and maybe I'm not as big on developing as I thought. But I don't know. I think everybody should develop a couple, though. It's fun, and have something they're passionate about. At least a blog.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I love what you just said about buying these domains, or buying the URL and redirecting them to
Right.
that's a great idea.
Yeah, it helps too with measuring advertising. I found, for when I guide people to different names that I bought that go to specific pages that I have on my site, it really helps me to be able to figure out, is my advertising working when I have people that go to a direct place. Analytics is great, but it helps to actually see that URL and know that you're targeting stuff, and kind of track that back too.
100%.
Before we open it up for questions, I just want to know if there's anything that you'd like to share, or if there's anything you'd like to talk about for your business, so people can know how to find you.
I just say I'm really happy if you just Google anything straight razor or wet shaving, and find the person you like there to deal with. I don't own all those sites, but I would encourage you to patronize anybody that's in the wet shaving world. Just go out and buy yourself some soap and a brush. Chances are you're going to end up with one of my places, so that's cool. And if you don't, you're still going to get a good product. And if you don't, go looking around. But you're going to love wet shaving. I just say, boy, girl, whatever. It's like my wife wet shaves. It's a soap and a brush. Just go there, start with that, and and enjoy, a better shave, less irritation, and something that, is handcrafted.
I love it. So if anybody who's watching has any questions, I'm standing by to ask the questions to Luke or to Joe. If you have any questions about domains or GoDaddy products, or about shaving. Luke, can you explain the difference between wet shaving and, I guess it's not dry shaving. I mean, what's the difference using, like Joe said, the can of shaving cream versus using soap?
Sure. So wet shaving is just the art, or the process of using a soap and water with a brush. Now, some people, can lather with their hands, but really it's just a difference of like an aerosol gel or a gel. I just try to move people away from that and say, get an artesian soap and something with vitamin E. Look for like coconut, shea butter, things like that. It's so much slicker and smoother, and it's not going to leave you like with the gel where you get the goo, or the kind of gums up, or where it gets dry, it'll dry you out. It's just so much better for your skin. And plus, using a brush, it helps clean and lift, and it just your pores are going to thank you, and you're going to get a lot better shave. I mean, it's like such a better shave, and the slickness of the soaps are just awesome. So especially I like vitamin E and coconut based soaps, or shea butter. That's just my personal preference, but there's quite a few different types of soaps out there, and great manufacturers, whether it's even shaving creams. And if you're somewhere where there's an art of shaving, that you can go into one of those P&G stores and kind of get an idea. I would encourage you to patronize anybody selling wet shaving stuff, but I think you're going to find a lot better natural ingredients online, through one of the smaller artesian stores.
Yeah, I'm going to have to check it out.
You'll love it. Yeah. My wife loves it. It's the only way she shaves now. It's the only way I've shaved for several years, 5 years, 6 years. And it was, I was really fortunate not to ever have too much irritation. And, but I do get it in my neck, like down in this area, but it's so much better now that I actually still use a pre-shave oil. So I use like an oil that I rub on and put on before I actually apply the soap. And that really helps me, because my neck gets irritated. It's just the way it grows.
Very interesting. Well, we don't have any questions yet. So,
All
Joe,
right.
do you have more questions for Luke?
No, I think it's pretty helpful for people that are watching to kind of get it, from soup to nuts, how they get their name, what's important about a name. and then build it out, and how did they advertise and actually get customers through the door. And it's been a great introduction, and I'm sure that if there's any questions that people have, Luke's usually pretty easy to get a hold of. So if you post any comments here, I'm sure he'd answer them, and we're happy to answer any questions that you have as well if you post them in the comments.
Yeah, absolutely. So I put several links, Luke, in the comment section here on this particular Hangout that will stay there. But what's the best way to get in touch with you? Is it through one of your websites? Is it through a Facebook page? Is it through Twitter? What's the best way for people to talk to you?
I'm kind of a recluse on some of those things. I don't have a very good Twitter account, but the best way to, if somebody had a question for me, or wanted to chat with me, it's just Luke at iLink, and so just Luke at i.link. So that's an easy email to remember, and people always go i.link.com, and I'm like, no, just Luke at i.link. So just the letter I and then .link, and I get that email, it goes directly to me, and I'm really easy at responding and helping people out. Yeah, and so that's the easiest way to get a hold of me.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Anything else, Joe? Can we wrap it up?
Yeah, thanks for joining us, and I know you're a busy guy, so I really appreciate the time that you took out to share with people that are interested in maybe learning about buying a name for their business or starting an online business. So I think it was really helpful, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to them, because it's a great resource to be able to ask somebody who's been successful online.
Oh, we have a real quick question for you, Luke.
Yeah.
Or it could be for Joe. It could be for both of you, actually. Rory would like to know, any thoughts on how the premium pricing system could be improved between registries, resellers, and customers?
I assume he's talking about the GTLDs. Not sure if that's what you're asking about. Because there's different premium pricing. So if you have a name that you wanted to buy, that's not it's a valuable name that's coming out, and it might not be available for you to purchase at the regular registration fee, so they want to charge more money because the name has value. Then they refer to that as a premium name. So something like probably shave.club would be a premium name. That's not going to come out at the $2.99 you have the opportunity to get the fountainheads.club for. This is a great name. So there's different pricing models based on the companies that provide the domains. So there's several big companies that have names. Like Com is run by a company called VeriSign. There's other companies that are out there that run these new TLDs, and they each have different pricing. So really, it is a little bit complex, but that's why we're here to help. If you're talking about the way to find out the price, really the easiest way would just be to call and ask us, and we can kind of run through and find out what's the best price for that name.
Great. All right, and Luke, Jeffrey Sass says, thank you, Luke. It was great info. So, yeah, thanks, Luke. I really appreciate it. And Joe, as always, I love doing Hangouts with you because I learned so much. So for all of you that are watching, just keep in mind that we will have many more of these live broadcasts coming. My goal is to have a weekly live broadcast that is going to showcase all different types of things. So not just GoDaddy products, but we'll be talking with more customers and sharing small business stories and really highlighting success stories and telling some stories of overcoming failure as well. So we are, as I said at the beginning of this, we're revamping this whole studio that we have here. And if you would like to be a guest, anybody out there watching, I would love to have you on the show. Whether you're in Phoenix or anywhere around the world, I would love to make that happen.
That sounds like a great opportunity. Yeah,
we're gonna have a lot of fun with it. So thank you all for tuning in. This video will stay live on our Hangout channel. It will stay on our Hangout channel, and it will also be on our YouTube channel for you to be able to go back and review anytime. So with that, we're signing out from Scottsdale. Bye. Thanks, Luke.
Bye-bye. Yeah, have a great day.
You too.